Hello and welcome to another episode of my Formula 1 22 MyTeam career mode. This is episode number 9, so we go into the Belgian Grand Prix. If you did miss last episode, be sure to check that one out. Bit of a shorter one, but sometimes these things happen. Hopefully we can have a much better race this time round. But we go to start off this episode with a contract renewal for his teammate Yuri Vips. He is asking 2 million he wants, and yeah, I don't want to pay that for him. We haven't exactly given him the best car to kind of prove himself, so yeah, it's kind of harsh, but yeah, I'm not paying 2 million for him. I don't think he's worth the 2 million, especially when we've got other drivers like less than half his price who are on the same rating. But I'm actually tempted, you know, to spend the extra and go for Zhou Guanyu. He's got, most importantly, I'm looking at that experience stat, because that's what really helps you get the resource points in order to spend on upgrades and build the car. So we actually approach him, and he is happy with everything we've got. So we're going to start negotiations here with Zhou Guanyu, or Guanyu Zhou. And yeah, hopefully we can sign him. Now we have I think about 4 million, so once this gets to about 2.5 million, I'm not going to spend any more than that. We have the 1 million buyout as well, so that'd be 3.5 million. So yeah, we're just going to keep putting in small bids basically up until we get to that 2.5 million mark. If we can get him for a bit less, then even better. And 2.22 million, we managed to sign him. Then with the extra buyout of 1 million, that's going to be 3.2 million. And yeah, I'm very happy to have Zhou Guanyu on board. The man from, well, he's representing China, but he's actually from Sheffield, so nice to have another guy at least living in Yorkshire driving for the Inspired Yorkshire Racing Team. So awesome stuff. Anyway, we're going to fill out the activity timeline and do some sponsor advertisement events, that kind of thing. We don't actually get any resource points for his failure, which is annoying, but it is what it is. We've actually got a good bank of them at the minute. Speaking of resource points, we actually have an aerodynamic upgrade come in. That was a rear downforce upgrade, so we're going to do a front downforce upgrade to balance it out. We've really fallen behind with the aerodynamics there, so we'll need to keep on top of that. We have already a chassis upgrade and engine upgrade in the works, so we might as well get a durability upgrade while we have those extra resource points. It was actually a gearbox issue. It was a gearbox that failed last episode, so that's not the end of the world, because we actually have 4 gearboxes. So yeah, we should be okay and be able to finish, hopefully without any penalties this season. But looking at the driver market, Vips actually does a straight swap with Guanyu Zhou, and I think that was the only driver change we actually had in mid-season. So glad to see Vips still on the grid actually.
Our new parts have completed without issue. They'll be on the
Alright, so we have another upgrade come in, which was the weight reduction upgrade. That's going to be really helpful. And we have this weight redistribution upgrade, which we have a massive discount on from doing all the practice programs, so I thought I might as well go and get that in. But going back to what I was saying about Vips, nice to see him back on the grid for a much better team. As you can see there on the performance comparison chart, we're still at the bottom. Hopefully we can keep making upgrades.
A reporter's asking who you see as your rival.
Alright, so we've got to choose a rival here. I'm just going to go Lance Stroll. I think that's the most realistic in against the Aston Martin, with where we are in terms of vehicle performance. But yeah, not much time then going into the Belgian Grand Prix. I actually forgot to do the activities for these couple of days we had, but it's not the end of the world. With that, let's go to Spa for the Belgian Grand Prix. There we are then in qualifying. This is my kind of first run, just getting a feel for the track, for the braking marks and that kind of thing. I actually tend to do pretty well at Spa compared to other circuits, and that's his first lap. We're actually going to stay out and do another lap, like I say, just to get these, just get a feel for the track. And so a couple of back-to-back laps, and then we'll go out at the end on a fresh set of tyres and low fuel and do a real push lap as we go up Radion, or Rougen Radion. And I actually make a bit of a mistake here. We're coming through this kind of chicane, and then yeah, we just get on the curb, and I were a bit happy, a bit too enthusiastic with the throttle, so we had a bit of damage. We managed to repair it in time, but here we go then for our final qualifying lap in Q1. Hopefully we can get into Q2 again, that'd be nice. Like I say, I am pretty decent at this circuit compared to the AI in this game, at least in this game. Compared to actual other drivers in other simulators, Spa's a bit of a not such a good circuit for me. I tend to struggle in like Race Room and some of the other simulators, but we actually gain a load of time as I was so much more confident on the brakes, and it's nearly a second gain there. We gain a little bit more into this section, and we carry quite a bit more speed into this corner. I lose a little bit on the exit, but a second up so far, and even as banker lap we're ahead of Guan Yu Zhou, so I tend to do better on these kind of purpose-built racetracks compared to some of the street circuits, especially like Monaco. Obviously we had a bad race there, and like Singapore and places like that I tend not to do so well, but these kind of old school tracks like you know, Spa, Silverstone, I think we even did pretty well in Canada as well, and that's kind of a kind of hybrid street circuit with a proper race circuit. So anyway, we go then on his way into the bus stop chicane, a second and a half up as we brake around about the 100 metre pod, seems about right, and take quite a lot of curb there. Quite got to be a bit careful with the curbs on this game, but 1.8 seconds up, and that's going to be a 1:48.2, and that's going to be good enough for P8, so it is going to be a Q2 appearance for us for I think the third time. Anyway, we carry on once again then in Q2, and once again I'm just doing a banker lap on a set of scrub tyres. So I think these were the same tyres I used in my final lap in Q1. So we're going to do a lap on these, and then once again go on a fresh set, and then go at the end of the session, go out and do another push lap then. But we do this lap, and I go back into the garage, and we actually picked up some underbody damage somehow. Nothing came up while I was out on the actual lap, and yeah, we're not going to be able to repair it in time.
Repairing the damage to the car.
Yeah, we're not going to be able to repair it in time to go out again. So a bit of a calamity there, but we'll see where as time gets us. It's quite frustrating actually, because we did a 1:48.2 in Q1, and that would have got us into the top 10. But if we look at the standings, we're actually way down in P15 with that lap. So we did out-qualify as new rival. But at least we know we have pace and we can go forwards in the race. Speaking of which, let's go to the race.
We're in Belgium once again for today's round of the Formula One World Championship. It's a race that the great Ayrton Senna won 6 times, and in 2019, Charles Leclerc became the first driver to take their maiden win here since Michael Schumacher back in 1992. Spa Francorchamps today, a circuit that spans 4.35 miles. There are tons of elevation changes along the way too. 19 corners making up this circuit, with 9 of those to the right and the remaining 10 to the left. This track's a great one for fans of pure speed, and the average lap speed comes close to a whopping 145 miles per hour. It's time to take a look at our starting grid for today's race. It's Sergio Perez on pole today, edging out Max Verstappen, who'll start from P2. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Leclerc, Hamilton, George Russell and Norris, Fernando Alonso, Ricciardo, Ocon and Valtteri Bottas, Magnussen, Vettel, Carlos Sainz, Evans, Latifi, Joe, Yuri Vips and Mick Schumacher. Gasly, they'll be starting further back after an earlier grid penalty. Stroll, Albon and Yuki Tsunoda. It's almost time for the lights to go out, so let's head down to the track where preparations are underway.
So strategy-wise, it's just going to be just a one-stop. I'm not going to do anything crazy here. I am going to start on the medium tyres as well, rather than doing the switch that we do sometimes. So yeah, hopefully we can get a better start. We'll see what happens then as the 5 red lights go out, and away we go then for the Belgian Grand Prix. A bit of a tank slapper at the start, really struggling to get the power down there. I think the track is a little bit cold, as you can see. We're in overcast conditions. I ride the curb a little bit, and that lets Latifi get back through, of all people. But we carry on. And there's his teammate Vips in the mirror. He's trying to go side by side with us through Eau Rouge and Radion. That's quite brave. I think we did make a little bit of contact. We had a bit of a wiggle as well, which were a bit scary, but we kept it all in check. Now we've got Vips and Gasly trying to cruise past us, but we're late on the brakes, and we managed to stay ahead just for now, and Schumacher is overtaken both of them. So yeah, good move by him. We can now catch back up to this train and look forwards. Once again, Latifi in front of us, so we'd like to be in front of him ideally. We should be beating him. We've got Vettel in front of us as well, and I think we can challenge at least the Williams and Aston Martins. We have the Haas of Schumacher behind us, so we'll have to keep his eye out for him. But it's been alright so far on this first lap. Once again, closing up to Latifi in the braking zone. We get a really good launch out of that chicane, and we're going to send it then up the inside and get on the power nice round here. And this sector 3 is pretty much all flat out, and yeah, we managed to tuck into the slipstream of Vettel. Plenty of VRS users as well, and we'll see what we can do as we come into the bus stop. We're gaining, and we're not quite close enough. We are going to have a cheeky look up the inside, just in case he was early on the brakes or anything. But we just tuck back in for now for the charge up total source. On to lap 2 we go then. We're looking for the 100 metre board. There it is, and it's very slow into that corner, and it's a very late move, but we made it stick, and now we can get on the power, and hopefully we can stay ahead. There's no DRS yet, so we'll save all the ZRS for the Kemmel straight as we go up Radion and Eau Rouge for the second time. It's absolutely sending the battery, and he is in the slipstream. It's gaining slightly, but I think the ERS is saving us there, and we managed to stay ahead of Sebastian Vettel. So up into P13 then, we're making decent progress. We're 2 positions up from where we started, and we're on the same lap then. This is towards the end of lap 2, going into sector 3. We get a really good run on Valtteri Bottas here in the Alpha. He's on the soft tyres actually, so I think he's doing the 2 stop. So yeah, we don't really need to be battling him, but I want to get past so we can have a go at Magnussen. He's on the mediums as well, so we're going to go up the inside of Bottas side by side. It's very close, but no contact made. I try and get the power down around the outside, but loads of wheel spin in 3rd gear, and those soft tyres just give him the extra grip to get the launch out the corner. As we come into T1 then, tight hairpin, and once again it's so much better on the traction on the exit of the corner there. But as we come up once again, Eau Rouge and Radion for the 3rd time, we're going to have DRS this time, and we're in the DRS of Bottas. He's just missed out on the DRS on Magnussen, so we're going to have the DRS open once again using all the battery. And we're going to go for a bit of a lunge here as he's early on the brakes. We absolutely send it into the corner. And there we are, up into P12. He's still having to go around the outside. We're just going to place his car in a position where he can't make that move stick. It's still right up his rear, but he seems to be quite slow into the long right-hander there. And now we can focus on looking ahead at Magnussen, and that would be P11. If we can get in front of Magnussen, I'm not sure if we'll have the pace to catch the likes of the McLarens and the Alpines and such, but if we can get into P11 and kind of just chill and do his own race, maybe there might be a DNF in the front runners in the top 10, and that would elevate us, give us the free position. So P11 would be a really good position for us to be in, as we are actually catching Magnussen. I am running a kind of lower downforce setup. I think it is a little bit more downforce than what the AI would run. I'm running 17-17 on the wings. So in this sector 2 we have loads of grip. As you can see, we send it up the inside of Magnussen, squeeze him out a little bit onto the curb. There were a little bit of contact there, but because he were on the curb, he didn't have the grip out the corner, whereas we did, and we managed to get that P11. Once again, using a little bit of battery, not too much around this back section of the track. He is in his mirrors though, so we're going to have to keep an eye out for him, but it doesn't look like he's making the move. So there we are, comfortably up in to P11 then. So yeah, this is exactly where we need to be for this race. Skipping forward a bit, on to lap 10 this is. You have Perez leading Verstappen, then it's Russell and Leclerc, and then Hamilton behind, but Perez goes wide into the chicane at the end of the Kemmel straight there, and that's invited Max Verstappen through, and I wonder if there were some team orders in play there. But Perez drops down, and at the end of the lap the leaders are actually going to come in, so Verstappen, Leclerc and I think Hamilton come in, as well as us as well. We come in lap 10 for our first and only stop, and I think there's Alonso and Ricciardo up ahead of us there as well. So we'll see how this pit stop shuffle turns out. We'll see whereabouts we end up when we come out. We're still in P11 now. Obviously some of the other cars going past now, so we are going to lose a couple of positions. We'll come out of the pits and we'll see where we come out. So it's P14. Obviously the cars in front still going to make their stop, but we have Bottas. He's back, coming at us at a rate of knots, and we're just going to position his car very awkwardly in the middle of the circuit, so he actually has to back out of that. A bit of a twitch on the cold tyres as we go through Radio down the Kemmel straight. He's going to have the DRS, he's gaining, we're going to squeeze him to the inside a little bit, pull back to the outside. Late on the brakes, we go side by side, but we managed to sail it round the outside, as he's going to come back at us though, and he sails it round our outside that time, and you'll see him get ahead of us, and we brake early to let him through, but he opens up a gap a little bit, and I'm going to place my car right in there and thread the needle, get back in front of Bottas. So yeah, hopefully we can pull away now. That'll definitely warm the tyres a little bit. P14, and we'll see what happens after this pit stop shuffle. So here's Verstappen then on to lap 12. He's going to come back out in the lead. He's got Hamilton right behind him, and it looks like Hamilton's jumped Perez and Perez and Russell. Hamilton's jumped both of them there, so really good pit stop for Hamilton. Perez is right down in P5 now. He was in P2, so Perez lost out a load of positions in that pit stop shuffle. We've also got Norris kind of doing his thing of hanging around at the front, so maybe he's looking for an opportunity. But once again, there's Sainz, and he's got past Alonso as well in the pit stop. We skip forward then to lap 14. We're on board with Bottas. He's made his second pit stop now, looking to pressurise Nicholas Latifi, going up the inside in sector 3. It's a little bit hairy, he's kind of a bit unsure of himself, but they go side by side into the bus stop. Latifi up the inside, he's later on the brakes, a bit of contact made there, and Latifi's going to try and keep his foot in, and he does as they go onto the start finish straight. Then Latifi ahead, Bottas still pulling ahead there, the side by side into T1. Latifi going defensive, leaving a little bit of room on the outside. You can see a bit of a chunk out of Bottas's front wing end plate there, so I don't know if that's going to affect him at all. But they go side by side once again, up Eau Rouge and Radion, and Bottas is just slightly ahead for now, but they're still side by side. It looks like Latifi kept his foot in, but Bottas has the DRS and the extra speed. You would have thought he pulls ahead, and that's Bottas ahead of Latifi. Amazing little battle there. I've been pretty impressed actually with Latifi this season. He's not doing as bad as what you thought he might in real life, but this is us then. We're on lap 17. It's been a pretty quiet race for us really since the pit stop, so we're just kind of just doing his own race really. 3.5 seconds behind Ocon and Ricciardo, but they are holding each other up. They are having a bit of a scrap, and as we come on to lap 20 this is, you'll see we're actually just within that 1 second window for the DRS. So we're going to have 2 laps left as we cross the start-finish line after the bus stop, and we're going to have the DRS, so maybe we can just pinch a point. I mean, I think P9 to overtake both of them might be a bit of a big ask, but if we could pinch a point, I'd be more than happy with that. So we're coming to T1 then, and it's not the best exit in the world, so we use a bit of ERS to try and just keep within that 1 second so we can have the DRS on the Kemmel Straight. Only 2 laps left, remember, as we come into the DRS zone, get that rear wing open. Still just under a second to gain on these guys, but as they go into the chicane, surely they're going to slow each other up, and that's exactly what they do as they close the gap by about half a second there, and we're right on the back of these guys then. See what we can do as we go down the hill then into the right-hander, right on the back of Ricciardo now, and I don't know if Ocon has an issue or something, but he's really holding up Ricciardo. I think on the performance comparison, I think these 2 cars are actually neck and neck, so we'll see what happens then as we go around Pouhon, right in the slipstream of Ricciardo, once again closing up in this chicane, and we get a bit of a good launch off this corner, using all the track and a little bit more, as we actually get slowed down a little bit on the exit into sector 3, but we're in the slipstream. The rear end were drifting about a little bit and moving about around there, so the tyres are starting to go off a little bit, but we're going to see if we can make a move on Ricciardo then on the second to last lap. As we go to the outside, we're going to go on board with Ricciardo, see what he does, but he turns defence into attack and goes right into the side of Ocon. A bit of a desperate move there from Ricciardo, but it looks like he keeps his foot in, manages to pull ahead. As we go back on board with us, we were watching that scrap, we just backed out of that because I didn't want to risk getting any damage, but we're on the last lap of the Grand Prix now, and we have a points position less than half a second in front of us, so we're going to chase after this. We're hungry for this. Up Eau Rouge and Radion for the last time into the DRS zone on the Kemmel Straight. Plenty of battery used. I do not want to lose out on the DRS, but it looks like Ocon's going to go to the outside. Ricciardo's defensive, and they go side by side. There's not really anywhere for us to go as we try and kind of pull alongside Ricciardo, maybe give him a bit of a challenge, but it's not going to happen as we go down the hill again, and we're going to look up the inside, but Ricciardo slams the door shut. A bit of contact made, and that might be a bit of damage on his front wing. If you have a look on the replay camera, I don't know how well you can see, but we do have a little bit of front wing missing, as end plates are fine, but there's just a little chunk out of the front wing. I don't know if you could see that there, but we're going to chase after Ricciardo still. This is, like I say, the last lap of the Grand Prix, and I am not giving this fight up. I want a championship point at Spa as we come in then to the final sector for the last time in this Belgian Grand Prix, into the slipstream, using all the battery we have left, and we're gaining ever so slightly on Ricciardo this is, and you'll see on the back of Ricciardo's car that red light comes on. He's run out of ERS. He takes the racing line there to block us off, but we're going to absolutely send it into the bus stop chicane. It's all or nothing, and on the last corner of the last lap of the Belgian Grand Prix, we're going to come home in P10 for 1 championship point. What a race, what an ending to this race. And it's another points finish for us, as 3rd points finish of this season. Absolutely amazing stuff there. I am more than chuffed to bits with that performance.
What a great race then, and a magnificent victory here at the Belgian Grand Prix. Talk to me, Ant. What was it that set them apart from the competition today?
Well, I honestly feel it was down to the driver and car today. I mean, we can talk driver skill all day, but if you don't have a solid team to back that, you're never going to get anywhere. When you hit that sweet spot of having both an excellent driver and an incredible car, that's when you see results like those we witnessed today.
Here come today's winners. The team at Red Bull have done a phenomenal job recently, and it's clear to see that they've put in the work, and they should be so proud of the victory they secured here.
So it's another win for Max Verstappen after Leclerc's win back in the Hungarian Grand Prix. Verstappen had to respond, and respond he has. So he's going to extend his championship lead as we come into the second half of this season. We'll have a look at the points and stuff after. A good race for Hamilton as well, getting P2 that is. So yeah, he's been quite consistently up there challenging for podiums along with his teammate at Mercedes. So not a terrible season for them so far. But yeah, this is how things finished in the end. We gained 4 positions and a championship point as new teammate Zhou Guanyu not doing amazingly there, it's got to be said. Vip's up in P14, so I think that's his best finishing position so far in his new team. So I am glad to see him still on the grid, and maybe in the Alfa Romeo it's going to be a better place for him to develop as a rookie in this season. So I didn't really have anything against Vips, I just didn't want to pay the 2 million he were asking for. But anyway, 22 points the gap at the top of the championship, so it's still all to play for. And then you've got Perez and Hamilton separated only by a point, and Russell there as well, not far behind, as Hamilton actually overtook Russell there. In terms of the teams, Red Bull leading by 37 points to Ferrari, Mercedes in their own little world, McLaren and Alpine scrapping it out. Looks like AlphaTauri the best of the rest, and then it's us, so yeah, not too bad. But anyway, thank you everyone for watching. I hope you enjoyed. You know which buttons to click if you did, and I'll see you all in the next one.